Beautiful. So, welcome to the Magdalene Global Collective. This is a living temple that unites hearts, lineages, and soul missions across the world. It initiates leaders and seekers that are embodying divine feminine and divine masculine in sacred union consciousness, where our goal is to anchor compassion and sovereignty, sacred service, and embodied love into the earth through prayer, teaching, transmission, and community. This is a sanctuary for divine remembrance, which grounds heaven into earth and fosters the luminous frequencies that are guiding humanity's awakening. I am so honored today and I'm so privileged to be joined by Magdalene Freya, and she is a guide, she is a spiritual mentor, also a business mentor, and has been helping women now for a long time in her mission just to empower others and to help them through the services that she really has embodied now. So just what a guest today. And just please listen with an open heart and an open mind. So it's lovely to have you here, Madeline. And I'd love you to share your story. So, what brought you into this service and into what you're doing today, into what you've embodied?
I thank you first of all for inviting me to be a guest on your podcast. I'm so excited to be here. And it's so funny that you should ask. I mean, it's a question that makes a lot of sense to ask in start of a podcast, but I've just recorded my own podcast and am putting out a podcast episode today that's called The Mystery Path.
Oh, fantastic.
And yeah, and what the mystery path is this inner guidance that kind of show up out of nowhere that ask you to do things that doesn't make sense. It is a mystery path because it's not the logical transgression of events, but it's just a deep sense of calling that we can experience in life. And so when you ask me, how did I end up here? I have no idea, but I do have an idea. So back in the day when I was a normal person,
Were any
I
of us
was,
normal now, Madeline?
yeah, no, it's a long time ago. And I was studying at the IT University of Copenhagen. And through a series of unfortunate or fortunate events, I found myself in a little bit of a crisis and asking myself, like, I have achieved all of the things that I had set myself out to do. I was in this very acknowledged university and getting a degree and getting fine grades, and I was really good at it and I also liked it, but I was just deeply, I don't even think that unhappy is the right word. It just felt wrong. I think is the most correct way of being. And I saw myself asking, like, is this what life is about? Is this like getting up and going to school and looking into a computer all day? Is this what it's about? Because I look around me and I see a lot of people that's really unhappy with the way that we're living, and I'm just starting to ask a lot of questions. And through these questions, I ended up first studying holistic health, where I learned a lot about how the body is made to heal itself through natural means, things that we aren't taught in school and just taught to take medication and things will go away, but they don't really go away. I started doing a lot of mindset work. I found manifestation, and I figured out that if I change the way that I think, if I do things differently, if I start to believe in my own power to create my reality, things start to change and quite quickly. And quite suddenly, although I had a new education as a holistic health coach, I found myself having a very successful business. And this successful business kind of morphed into a business that was focused on manifestation. And from manifestation, I moved into business coaching, which then morphed into being very strategic and very money focused, as we see a lot of coaches do. And yet again, I found myself in this position of questioning, like, was it all about the money? Is that is that what life is about? And yet again, I found myself in a little bit of a crisis. And in this crisis, I stopped everything that I was doing and I went into shamanic initiation through the path of the vulva, which is the seer or the sorceress in old Norse mythology. And so I was trained in spirit walking, on like being able to walk between planes and seeing deeper things in the different realms. And my whole journey has been a pathway of opening up and seeing deeper layers and finding myself even deeper. Through this work, I also went into training as a tantric sexologist, where I went deep into trauma work, into de-armoring. And so I feel like my entire journey has been this journey of collecting all of these different modalities to heal, to rid ourselves from distortion, to find which parts of our identity that has been fragmentized, to find where we are not being authentic, to heal the trauma that we have experienced throughout life. And so I see my journey as a path of learning to become more authentic, learning to become more powerful, to see your own ability to create a life that makes you happy and makes you feel fulfilled, and come back into what did my soul come here to do. And and find harmony in a way with ourselves and also with the people around us, with the plants around us, with the animals around us. So it's a journey that I will be on forever, I'm sure. And I'm just, showing the people behind me the few steps that I've taken ahead, which I think is in essence when we're called to do mentoring or when we're called to work with people, that's in essence what we're always doing, just showing people the last couple of steps that we've taken.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So would you say you were a high priestess as well? Um, and it's a lifelong journey as well. There's never really an ending or a place of you feel you're whole. It's like you're whole for a little while and then you're brought through another
Yeah,
series of initiations. Have you found that yourself?
yeah. Yeah, completely. And I've hit a few spots on this journey where I felt like, okay, now I have found it.
Yeah. Now
I
I've
am
got
now
it.
me. I am revealed to myself. I know who I am now. I now know how powerful I am. And then something happens and you just it's always a small navigation of being in alignment and coming out of alignment because of all of the stories and all of the conditioning and human life that
Yeah.
is this entire journey of coming back into our soul and our soul purpose, I think.
The thing just to remember though as well is like when you are on this journey and you have gotten to that place, even when you do fall back, you never fall back as far as you did in the first place, as far
True.
as the first fall, you know? Um,
And a thing that I think that I have learned on this mystery path of life is that our deep desires, our pulls, our wants, the thing that we just cannot let go of, like it can be I really truly desire to create a business that's thriving and where I feel like I'm really helping people, or it might be that I really thrive or I really desire to create this union and this partnership. or I really desire to have a beautiful home, whatever that desire that we just cannot let go, um, is always going to be or should be like the guiding star that we move towards.
Yeah,
Because when we
that's
don't
beautiful.
follow that big desire that we have, that is when we come out of alignment and we feel off in a way, and we get sick and we get depressed and we get stressed because we're not following the authentic truth of what our heart is telling us. And I think that that is what's causing most people so much suffering, is that we have learned deeply to not trust our body and our desires.
Yeah. How do you feel about what's happening on the earth today? And well, we'll say definitely there's a shift in consciousness everywhere, but how do you feel about the coming into this golden age?
I feel like addressing like some of the dynamics or challenges that we see in between genders, because I feel like that's really, at least that has been very active for me and has been a challenge for me to navigate. Um, I truly, as I said before, I honestly feel like a lot of the pain that we see is due to deep disconnection.
It's the
So,
separation.
yeah, so when people are
Mm,
not, when they aren't connected to their intuition, when they aren't connected into their bodies, we are not
mm,
fully present. And we are living from this ego mind of disconnection, of egoic needs and desires that really has nothing to do with soul. This is when we lose touch of all of the things that we're doing and how that's um, affecting the world around us, affecting the earth around us. We are creating a lot of destruction. We see a lot of things in the
And it's a lot of
um,
like instant gratification, isn't it?
yeah,
People are just seeking the quick fix.
capitalism. Like a lot of big men just wants to earn a lot of money. Let's give them a lot of medication. Let's make sure that they're numb and dumb and sick. So they just keep working, 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 and we keep going around in this hamster wheel. And the people that stop and say, you know, I think we actually need more community. You know, I think that we should sit in a circle around the fire and drink some cacao and sing some songs. We are being ridiculed. That's
Yeah, we should.
that's
There's the old ways, isn't it? The old ways of
yeah.
like in the tribes, we'll say, like in
Yeah.
Peru, and yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
But the people that has been there in those spaces, in the tantric spaces or in the spiritual spaces where we meet around the circle and we just have togetherness. Like, I think that every single one of us have had a moment in time where we just start crying because we realize that this is what it's about. It's not about
Yes.
all of that.
Mm.
And so all I do through my business is to connect people back to that truth in their bodies where they can feel what it is that we actually need. Because when people are connected to that, we don't go and ruin everything, and we don't go and want to work the way that we work. Like, big shifts needs to happen if the humankind will continue to be here. Like, the earth will continue to be here and the animals will probably be fine, but we won't. And I
Mm.
don't think that we have that much time to fix it either. And so I think like all of us that are really called into service in this moment in time are really called with this lesson of their own tools that they can bring into the collective to reconnect us in whichever way that their gift is orienting them, truly.
It'll be a new world, that's for sure, won't it? It'll be
Yeah.
a new world. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll say in your business mentoring sessions, how have has it helped people? Do you work a lot? You were mentioning a manifestation.
Yeah. I mean, manifestation is such a fluffy term. But it's kind of just to give like an overarching idea of like this concept of believing in something is really important to make things happen.
And what do you find has
Um,
worked most for you, Madeline?
in terms of manifestation,
Yeah.
I would say, again, back to this piece around coming back to the body. And that's one piece of this like deep presence with what is and really being able to navigate from truth and authenticity. Because the things that create success when it comes to business, in my opinion, are the things that you're truly called to do. So when you're called to do something, it's coming from something bigger than you. And when it's coming from something bigger than you, it's because other people are calling for it. So when it's something that's coming through you in that way, it's actually more about putting the ego aside or putting your human aside to let that bigger thing flow through you. And therefore, like, if I am supposed to let something flow through me, it's important that I know what is me, what is my authentic truth, and like, what is the energy that is moving. And when we're always in our head and just trying to do the thing that makes most money, it doesn't actually catch fully on. So that's one part of it. And another part of it is really about bravery or about expansion and being able to hold that nervous system stretch it is to be able to facilitate for more people, to be able to trust yourself with more people, more money, more audiences. So it's equal parts learning how to truly be in a channel when it comes to business. It is the expansion work, it is the manifestation work or the shadow work that is in relation to that and the
Mm.
expansion. Can you hear the beeping in the background? I'm so sorry. It's my washing machine.
That's okay. Sure, life has to go on. So that's
Yeah.
perfect. I was going to ask as well, we'll say when it comes to the manifestation, I have always found as well, no matter what work you can do with people and do work for people, it's really that because we'll say everybody wants you to wave a magic wand, but we'll say they really have to do the work themselves. And if
Mm,
there is an inner wound, we'll say that they still
mm,
have to heal.
mm,
That's where
mm.
the work has to be done because if that inner
Fully.
wound isn't healed, they can still bring in the lack. They can still be drawn to them, what they're
Yeah.
reflecting out as well.
Which is why some of the biggest work that I have done with my clients, like I've
Yeah,
worked with a lot of clients that have had like massive success. And what I find with with those clients is that we always have resistance on the thing that we want. And it
yeah,
can be
yeah.
so difficult to find the reason for that resistance because it's in a blind spot. Our
Mm,
ego will not let us see, or like our conditioning, our conditioning is what you have right now is what keeps you safe. And
yeah,
so there's a lot of mechanics that start to take into place when we are expanding and we are growing our business, when we're trying to get out and we're trying to share our wisdom with the world. Like, your conditioning, your animal self want nothing to change. And so if we're supposed to expand beyond that, we have to navigate that bit of you that does not want things to change. And in some way, at least momentarily, we need to eradicate that. And
mm,
that's easy to then say we're manifesting, but manifestation doesn't work. It does work, but it doesn't work unless we do the work that
mm.
of the things that is trying to resist change. And that's deeper than just having a mantra. It's deeper than just having affirmations and writing the same thing over and over and over again and just visualizing. Like, the more work that you do and the bigger you want to get, the more healing that needs to take place.
Yeah, yeah. To expand that container, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
it is a lot of
amazing.
work, and I've always seen, like, with the clients that seems to go the furthest in terms of
Mm,
business. Everyone comes to this point of I want to call it splitting almost. Like there's two
Yes.
identities and there's like two parts of them that's like in a battle and it's exhausting. And there's one part of them that's like, yeah, but I have to do this and I can do this and I have to take action. And the other part is like, no, 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 slow down and I don't know and maybe it's a bad idea. And like it's just these two parts of them that's kind of in this in a bind, and that can be
Yeah.
expressed in many different ways. Like my business partner Avery, when we were going through the launch of Priestess of the Sacred Feminine, she actually got really ill in a period of time throughout the launch, which was her
Amazing. Mm.
it was her, what's it called, like kind of her glass ceiling, and that was the way that her ego wanted to stop the process. And that
Mm.
doesn't mean that you should just ignore when those different lights come up, like there's a green light, a yellow light, and a red light, and we shouldn't ignore them. But we need to properly understand what it is and properly work
Mm.
through it instead of just falling back or instead of just pushing forward. We need to find what it actually is about and heal that part.
Yeah. Yeah. I found myself, it's with a lot of people, including myself at times as well. It's like there's a little internal kind of like a little set that we're at that we feel comfortable at. It's this little comfort zone. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even when money does flow in or money's coming in and like that, it's going back out, like it's flowing back out because you're just used to having this amount. And it's like that's
Yeah,
what your body is comfortable in holding. So it's
yeah,
you're working on that expansion to receive, isn't it?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Amazing. What would you say for those that would love to bring in their soulmate or that would love to manifest that partner? Because there has been like that someone who've been trying for a long, long time or trying for
Yeah.
that baby.
Yeah, oh my God. That is so deep to my heart because I was in that journey up until not very long ago. So I
Mhm.
was single myself for 4 years, I think, and with long stretches being completely celibate and like
Deep
I want to
process.
share completely, and I want to
Yeah.
share that like I had this it wasn't, I mean, it's a story, but it's also true. I called myself Teflon. Like, I was a Teflon for men. I did, like people would just come into my life and like they would just slip right out so quickly to an extent where you start to question, like, is there something wrong with me? Since nobody seems to want to be in my space, and I would have this experience of men being extremely attracted into my energy and then just disappear. Like it was so strange.
Wow.
And then I met my partner, and it was just, easy from the get-go and never any questions. And he, asked to be in a relationship like after 2 weeks, and it was just the easiest thing. And he is by far the most attractive, the most intelligent, the most successful man I've ever been with. So,
Fantastic.
first of all, I do have like an entire episode on this on my own podcast on Temple of the Sacred Feminine. So this is like one of my two podcasts. So please go and listen to that whole episode because obviously I have an entire hour there where I go way deeper into this. So if you want to know more about that journey, go there as well. And throughout the long period of time where I was single, I had to go through two really important initiations that I think that, when we are calling in partnership and we're spiritual beings and we're on this spiritual path, it's not gonna look the way like you cannot settle. You cannot just find a partner. It's going to be the partner. It's going to be your soulmate. And I'm not saying that we only have one, but I am saying there's
Yeah.
only a few souls that are meant for you. And so, one aspect of my journey was like for the longest period of time, I was really like grasping onto this desire of finding true love. And at a point, like it was a very desperate clinging on to this desire, and I really, really wanted it so, so bad. And this clinging on to, like with any other thing that we're trying to manifest, it's not gonna happen. Nothing beautiful comes out of force. And that force also comes when you have little faith. And ironically enough, what needed to happen before I could let go of that force was I needed to give up. Completely give up in a way of like, I have to accept that I might not find love. Because I was kind of, in a way, waiting for life to get better, for him to show up.
Amazing.
And so it was devastating to find this experience of like full, like completely giving up on love. But
Mm.
while giving up on love, I could finally hope for it. I wasn't clinging on to it. I wasn't trying to force it. I was like, maybe it doesn't happen. I still hope that it does. But
You
the
learn to
hope,
let go.
yeah, but the hope has more potency than trying to make it happen. And then the second part that happened was, ironically, I needed to fully believe that it would happen. So there was like a very distinct moment, like I had been dating someone else shortly before I met my now partner. And it had been quite good, and he had like a lot of the traits that I was looking for, and he also had, some that wasn't so aligned. But like if you've been single for a long time, and I know that at least for me, I was like, we can look through this.
Yeah.
Not
The
so
rose tinted
important.
glasses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. But when it didn't work out with him, I remember I wasn't like, I was sad, but I wasn't devastated because I didn't make it mean. I didn't make it mean, oh, that means I'm not gonna find love. I didn't make it mean anything about me. Actually, what I made it mean was like, oh, I mean, I'm a step closer now. And for the first time, I was quite confident that I would find love. And I don't think that I had that experience of being quite confident that I was going to find love like consistently for a long stretch of time until like a couple of weeks before I met my now partner. So it was
Like that
almost like
feeling came in that it was close for you. It was like that
yeah,
feeling, it's close now, it's close. I'm nearly there. It's the
yeah.
intuition, isn't it?
And what's really funny is that I moved to this place where I met my now partner, and I knew that I had to move here like 6 months before, or a bit longer before I actually ended up being here. And I had this very sudden, clear feeling that I needed to go here now. This is where I was meant to be living. Around the same time was the same time where my partner decided to move to Denmark. And he was looking around for a job all over Denmark, and I couldn't make the move happen. Like, for example, for this apartment that I have here, like, we have some weird rules. You can't just get an apartment if you're self-employed. Like, it's just you need to show that you have a document that says you work 30 hours per week. So I had to find a job to get here. And I've been self-employed for like 8 years, so finding a job was
Wow.
really difficult. And so I was looking and looking and looking, and I just couldn't find a job. And then finally, by the end of December, and I had said I would be moved by January, like I didn't have anything until the very last end of December, where I think that I made some spells for like, I wanted to find love and I wanted to find this job. Within a week, I got called in for this interview. I went to the interview on the 5th of January, and I matched with my now partner a few days before, and he had just moved to Denmark like when we just matched. So he hadn't gone on any other dates in Denmark. He hadn't met with anyone else. Like we just matched straight away when he got here. And when he got here, that's when I moved. That's when everything fell into place.
Amazing.
So
It's like being handed a key, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
it was like,
perfect.
of course, I was not supposed to be here before because I could have met someone else. And I wasn't meeting anyone else where I was living because I was moving, right? And so it was kind of like everyone that I met was just being wiped away from my existence because they weren't the one. And if
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say no, Spirit was gonna make sure
Mm.
that,
They were moving them on.
yeah, and my partner wasn't single until like 6 months before we met. So like I just had to wait.
It's beautiful, isn't it? And it always does. I know with my own clients as well for years. It's the timing, isn't it? It's that perfect divine timing. Like you just can't try to push it any sooner because you just can't.
Yeah,
All the doors start closing.
and there's also another funny point that I want to share, which is like my partner has some qualities that maybe a year ago would make me think like, oh, he's not my person because he's like substantially younger than me. He's 30, I'm 37, so that's like I don't know about that. And then he's a Gemini, which has been like my ick zodiac for so many years. But because prior to him, my experiences was that when I randomly dated men that were younger, I had much better experience. I randomly also met quite a lot of Geminis. So it was like the people that I met up to meeting him kind of like opened the doors for me to be able to perceive him as like a proper potential partner instead of you know, just
Wow.
some cute guy on Hinge.
Yeah, beautiful story, isn't it? Isn't it just beautiful? And I hope it'll just bring so much faith. It has done already to a lot of our
Yeah.
listeners today as well. It's beautiful. I was just going to ask you as well, just if you have the opportunity, just before we finish up the podcast today, would you like to offer just a little offering of what would you like to offer, like a little prayer or a little tool or a little meditation or what would you
Hmm.
find would bring in that recalibration for what people might need today?
Just give me a second.
Perfect.
Hmm. I think I'm gonna send you over. I did like a teaching on how to quantum leap with your intuition.
Oh,
Um,
fantastic.
so I did that. It was like a paid masterclass, or it was a part of one of my programs. But I'm gonna send you over the link so your listeners can go and just get that for free.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
then I want to share with you guys that, first of all, say yes. Say yes to the small things that you are invited to do, that you feel intrigued by but scared by. And when you're guided to do something, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's a challenge to make it happen, do that thing because those decisions are the decisions that brings you to where it is that you're meant to be going, truly. And I also want to say like I'm shifting up the way that I'm doing my podcast. So if there's any of your listeners that actually has a business, I'm going to be sharing some tools on the podcast that is going to be the tools that I would normally only share in my programs. So I'm not a part of the crew that's like, "Oh, I'm going to tell you the why but not the how. I don't know if you know that, like that
Yeah.
strategy method. Like I'm so for like fucking with the system of how we normally do marketing. Like I'm just here to share what I know, and people that wants to work with me more intensely can be in my programs. But I just want to share the wisdom that I have to people. So I'm going to be sharing some of the modalities that I use in my programs on the podcast. So the podcast that I have by myself is called Soul Alchemy by Magdalene Freya. And the one that's more oriented towards priestess work is called Temple of the Sacred Feminine, and both of those are on Spotify. So I'll send you over all of the links, of course. But yeah,
Beautiful.
if yeah, there's so many good things, and of course, please come say hi on Instagram as well. And if there's any like questions or anyone wants to have some feedback on something or want to talk, you're also very welcome to just reach out.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. And you've just been just amazing, amazing energy, amazing guest. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This was lovely.
Oh, lots of love.